welcome to Q-Line Primetime. So today we're doing something a little bit different. Obviously, due to the current situation, all the theme parks are closed, unfortunately, but it is for the best, and hopefully the more people stay indoors, the sooner we can get this over with and be back enjoying the rides again.
Yeah.
However, we've decided we are going to have a little game of Mr. and Mrs. today and find out how well we know each other regarding our theme park knowledge. And yeah, let's get into it. We're going to get some questions up and see how we do. I would say Lara's favourite theme park is Chessington.
My favourite theme park is Chessington World of Adventures, purely because it has penguins, the Gruffalo, and Room on the Broom. And what else wouldn't you want from a theme park?
I think Lara's favourite ride would be the Smiler.
My favourite theme park ride is Saw the Ride at Thorpe Park. A lot of people complain and say it's a bit rough and yada yada yada, but I really enjoy it. I think it's like awesome. I enjoy the bits of airtime and the lift hill and all the theming. I think it's just a great ride.
I think Lara's best theme park memory might be the fireworks at Alton Towers.
My best theme park memory is finally riding the Smiler at Alton Towers. Like, we'd been going to Merlin and like to Alton for ages, and like I think it was probably like May last year, and we were just looking at it and going, this is a terrifying coaster. We're like, we've got to do it because we've done every other ride in the park, we've got to do the Smiler. So we were like queuing up and like, oh, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And then I sat down and just smiled the whole way through and was laughing. It's such a good ride, and for all the like space it's in, it's insane. Like, it's relentless. It keeps going and going, and it's got the pops of airtime and this, that, and the other, and it's a great ride.
I think Lara's worst theme park memory may be walking into a wall in Room on the Broom at Chessington.
My worst theme park memory also comes from Alton, and it was being trapped in Galactica. Now, Galactica, don't get me wrong, is a great ride, but when you are stuck in that position for quite a while, it does start to hurt a little bit. But the ride staff were great and sorted this all out, but it's not something I'd like to repeat.
I would say the ride Lara was most scared of was the Smiler.
The ride I was most scared of was Oblivion. I have been going to Alton for years, and I remember just looking up when I was a kid and thinking, I will never ride you. And then one day I was like, you know what, like, I've done everything else, I need something new. And I looked at the face of Oblivion and thought, nah, I'm good. And then I saw it was on a 5-minute queue, and Ben was like, oh, do it, I've been on it, it's fine. And I was like, is it though? And then sat down, restraint on, we're going up, and I've got my eyes closed and I'm holding on for dear life, and I'm like, oh my god, and I look out and I can see the Smiler and the towers, and I thought, oh, this is a really nice view. And then it tilts you, and I was like, oh god, oh no, oh no. And then, in fact, the drop isn't that bad, it's over in seconds, but it's so like exhilarating. And I was like, yeah, I've done it. And now, like, I let my hands go at the top, like, I think it's fine. But oh my god, if I'd told me back then that I'd ever be going on Oblivion, I'd be like, no.
The ride Lara was most excited about getting on for the first time would probably be something silly like the Gruffalo.
The ride I was most excited about going on for the first time, believe it or not, was the Gruffalo at Chessington, purely because I'd grown up reading all the Gruffalo books, and I was like, oh my god, the Gruffalo. Ben was a bit sad because it wasn't Bobbleworks, but I was like, it's the Gruffalo.
I believe Lara's first ever roller coaster was 13 at Alton Towers.
My first ever roller coaster was 13 at Alton Towers, and I was like, yeah, it looks cool. I'd followed all the marketing and I'd rode it like probably a couple of months after it had been like first built. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome, this is going to be awesome. And when it changed track, I thought that was the ending, and I let go of my restraint, and then all hell consumed me and I cried. I didn't actually, but I was like, ah, as I plummeted down and backwards. And I think ever since then I've wanted to be a theme park enthusiast, because that was the best day of my life.
Lara's most embarrassing ride cred has got to be probably the Duplo Dino coaster or Octonauts, but I'm going to go for Duplo Dino.
My most embarrassing ride cred probably has to be the new Duplo Dino coaster at Legoland Windsor. And like, it's a good ride, and it's a good ride for kids, but when you're 22 years of age, riding on a Duplo dinosaur probably isn't the coolest thing to do.
If Lara could visit any theme park in the world, I think she'd probably choose Disneyland.
If I could visit any theme park in the world, it'd probably have to be Heidi Park in Germany, because it's got all the fun and all the thrills of what you'd have in the UK, but with like a fun European twist. I don't know. I just like, when you look at different places in the world you'd like to go, I looked at Heidi Park and I thought, this is where I want to go.
If Lara was to remove any ride, I think it would be Derren Brown's Ghost Train at Thorpe Park. But I reckon, I'm not sure she'd replace it, but I think she'd probably update it into a much better Ghost Train attraction.
If I could remove any ride from any theme park, it would probably have to be Derren Brown's Ghost Train from Thorpe Park. Like, it's good, but it's, for the floor space and what could be put there, like, it doesn't really do it justice. Like, it was a great concept, but it wasn't very well executed and things are a bit disjointed. And don't get me wrong, there's a few good jump scares, but if I had to replace it with something, I'd probably like to see probably a new wooden coaster at Thorpe Park. Like, I think they could do something really cool with the concept of like frights and scares, but I don't think Derren Brown hit it on the head. And I think if they had like a new wooden coaster, looking at how well Wicker Man's done with the whole Bjorn, they could take it that step further and do like, I don't know, something like big and scary. I think Ben's favourite theme park is probably going to be Thorpe Park.
My favourite theme park for overall experience would have to be Alton Towers.
I think Ben's favourite ride would probably be the Smiler at Alton Towers.
My favourite ride in the UK is definitely Icon.
I think Ben's probably best theme park memory is just the ones where I embarrassed myself, like at Drayton Manor, when I thought that it said chicken dinner and it said chicken diner, and I was like, why hasn't it got two ends? And he was like, because it's a diner, and I was like, oh.
My best theme park memory would probably be watching Lara walk into a wall in Room on the Broom at Chessington.
I think Ben's probably worst theme park memory is we had a time at Thorpe Park which wasn't too great, where they'd taken the money from one payment and yada yada and not given tickets, and all got resolved and Thorpe were excellent with it, but it just frustrated Ben a bit.
My worst theme park memory would be cracking 2 of my ribs on Rattlesnake at Chessington.
I think the ride Ben was probably most scared of was Stealth at Thorpe Park.
I think the ride I was most scared of going on at first was probably the Smiler.
I think the ride that Ben was most excited to go on was probably the Swarm at Thorpe Park, because he'd never got to ride it the first time he had his Merlin pass, and then when he got it again, he was like, yeah, we've got to do it, we've got to do it.
The ride I was most excited about going on for the first time would be the Swarm at Thorpe Park.
Ben's first ever roller coaster was Oblivion at Alton Towers, and I know this because he got stuck on the drop for half an hour.
My first ever roller coaster, if you don't count the small coasters like little kids' caterpillar coasters, etc., my first ever proper roller coaster would be Oblivion at Alton Towers.
I don't know what Ben's probably going to say his most embarrassing cred is. I'd like to think it's Duplo Dino, but knowing him, he'll probably say something like, oh, the Gruffalo.
My most embarrassing ride cred would have to be the Octonauts coaster.
If Ben could visit any theme park, I reckon it would probably be Disneyland. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm guessing.
If I could visit any theme park in the world, it would probably have to be Disneyland in Florida, just for the overall experience.
I don't know. If Ben was to remove any Merlin theme park ride, what would it be? And what would he replace it with? Ooh, I don't know. I think he'd probably get rid of something like Rita, because it doesn't really do anything. But then what would he like? I don't know. Probably something like a hyper coaster. But I don't think with Alton's restrictions you'd probably build that unless you like dug and dug and dug and dug.
If I could remove a ride at any Merlin park and replace it with a new one, I would probably remove Galactica, as I think that's now had its day since it was Air, then Galactica, and now it's just somewhere in between. And I'd probably replace it with some kind of water coaster. Well, there you go. It seems like we don't know each other as well as we thought. However, I know you slightly better.
By 1 point.
By
1 point.
But yeah, that was a bit of fun, you know. And we're going to have more videos like this over the coming weeks, and hopefully, as we said earlier, get back to the theme parks as soon as possible. But for now, that's all from us. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Q-Line Primetime.